Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rose Room. I am your host, Sierra Nicole, and welcome to my story time. Today, I want to talk about a relationship from my past of 3 years with a narcissist, what I went through, what I learned, that may help you or someone out there that could be going through this or prevent someone from getting into something like this if you can. I know we can't always prevent things and don't always know what's going to happen, but no matter what, I want you to know if you're in an abusive relationship to go seek help. And it's not your fault, and you will get through this. God is on your side and I'm on your side. And I hope that my videos uplift you and bring you knowledge you can learn from and implement in your life so that you can grow and elevate and be brought to your path of purpose. I found that sometimes heartbreak, a breakup, and turmoil within relationships is a wake-up call to us from the universe to pay attention to something within ourselves that is unbalanced, to get us to see what is unhealthy in us and what is unhealthy for us. When you do something over and over again and keep trying and trying at something that doesn't materialize, sometimes the universe will force it away from you to get you to look at something within yourself that you need to heal and elevate from. It may even be God protecting you for something that wasn't meant for you because he has something better. And trust me, I know this is the last thing you want to hear when you're going through the motions or whatever you're going through, getting preached to feeling like you don't know what to do still after giving advice. But just hold on a little longer. Know this is life and we have all been through the same things. You're not alone. If you don't have nobody to go to, friends or family, go to God. Talk to him just like you would a friend or family member. Having a strong soul tie and a lot of time invested in a person you have to separate from can really affect you emotionally and mentally and health wise. And I can speak by experience, which is why I want to share my story that may help someone out there and let you follow along with me through my healing journey as well as my dating journey. So, to start off, if you don't know what a narcissist is, a narcissist is a person with a personality disorder that involves a pattern of self-centeredness, arrogant thinking and behavior, a lack of empathy and consideration for other people that can be described as cocky, manipulative, selfish, patronizing, and demanding. They also have this constant need of admiration, of wanting people to think they're happy and this powerful person that's living this lavish lifestyle with material things, and wear a false mask hiding their selfish ways and mental abuse they inflict onto other people. Narcs are unable to feel genuine happiness because they severely lack a sense of self. So they may envy or have resentment on others, but won't tell you that. They'll come to you with drama about something they don't care about, to make you feel so small, so they can feel important. And they prey on soft-spoken people as well, or people they feel have no voice. So let's get into my story. So the ending of the year of 2018, I was in a vulnerable place in my life. I was alone, a single parent of 2 kids. All my previous relationships failed, and they all failed the same way. My small circle of friendships crumbled. My family bonds crumbled. I had been out of work for over a year, not able to find a stable paying job. I was still in my first apartment, not able to afford to relocate. I outgrown my apartment, couldn't buy me and my kids nice things that I wanted to buy for them, and relied a lot on my mother and public assistance. The father of my children did their own thing, and I just was left to figure it out on my own. I had a mental breakdown, was super depressed, and started isolating myself in my house. I wouldn't go anywhere but to the grocery store to buy food and my necessities. And I did that for a full year and a half. And one day I said I need to take my power back and do something to make my life better for my kids, get help with my depression, get a job, and hope everything fall in place as I worked on it. I started looking for a job every single day. I applied to about 20 jobs and not one phone call back. And just as I was about to give up, I got an interview and got a job December of 2018 at the plant doing interiors for the F-150 trucks. And I was to start January 7th of 2019, the new year. And the following week, so that was the following week. So that whole week I was preparing for my new job, excited, starting fresh with everything in my life, trying to find me again, trying to find some sort of happiness in my life and do better. I remember spending New Year's Eve alone, that December of 2018, lonely at home. The kids were gone with their grandparents. Everyone else was out celebrating, and I'm home just scrolling away on my phone on Facebook board. DMs dry, no friends to hang out with. Though I had a new job to look forward to, I still wasn't in my full power. I was vulnerable. And looking back, I do understand that I was codependent and definitely unhealed with childhood wounds, so lost, broken. I always was thinking I had to give to other people my time, my energy, my acts of kindness, thinking I would get it in return, reciprocation. But it never really happened. And I always stayed on why, beating myself up, confused. And then going to new relationships after the other. Because I was codependent. I couldn't stand being alone. I felt like I always needed someone. So back to the story. So the day after New Year's, January 2nd, I found myself scrolling on Facebook again, bored at home. And all of a sudden, I'm getting these notifications out of the blue. So I checked them, and it's some guy that I don't know. He's liking all my pictures and commenting on a few of my photos. And so I went to his page and I checked him out, see where he was from, and looked at his photos and his comments. And I started to like his photos too. So we're going back and forth liking each other's photos. And then he DMs me and he says, well, since we're liking each other's pictures, why don't we exchange numbers? And he asked for my number. And I said, okay. I gave him my phone number. And he said, is it okay if I call you right now? And then I said, okay. So he calls and we have a good conversation. He was very polite. He seemed like a gentleman and charming over the phone. Didn't go overboard and ask me ridiculous questions. Didn't make me feel uncomfortable. We talked for hours and hours. We introduced ourselves, told him my name, my age, all the regular stuff you talk about when you first meet a person, your name, your birthday, what sign are you, what stuff do you like to do. And we got on the topic of religion and just talked about so much stuff that we end up talking to like the next day. We were on the phone till like 6 a.m. The sun came up and I'm like, okay, I'm finally about to go to bed. Like I talked to him through his whole work shift. He was at work at the time and he talked to me his whole time he was at work. And then he was finally getting off of work and we got off the phone. And I'm thinking when I got off the phone, like, this is someone that I really would like to get to know. He's very interesting. And so later on that day, he told me, I'm interested in you and I want to get to know you and all this other stuff. And we got into a conversation. He had asked where I worked. And I said, well, I just got a job at a plant for SIA. And I start on the 7th of January. And he said, that is so funny. He said, I worked there. I've been working there for about 2 years. And so it was just like such a coincidence. We already had a great conversation, and here it is, this job that I had just got, and was so excited about. He happened to work there. What is the odds? And so, I started the job. We continued talking to each other. And in fact, let me back it up. Before I started the job, we did meet each other, and introduced each other. He came by my mom's house. I was at my mom's house at the time doing laundry. And he came by, and I came outside, and we spoke and got to look at each other and see, what each other looked like, and interact a little bit. And it was a short period, then he left. And then I started my job the 7th of January was my first day. And this is my first time working a plant job. I never worked a plant job. I always heard stories of, plant life, of how, married men try to get with women and cheat on their wives, and just all these horror stories about plant life. And, so I started the job, and it was pretty tough. It was not easy. I've never worked a physical job like that ever in my life. So it was a challenge that I did get used to. And as I started working and, getting to know people, other people started noticing me. Like, I'd never seen you before. Hey, what is your name? And, mind you, I am talking to this guy that I met off of Facebook as well, but I'm still a single woman. I didn't make any commitments, and you can date more than one person. That dating is dating. It's not being committed to anyone or anything like that. So anyways, guys started noticing me, not to sound cocky or anything like that, but I do think I'm a beautiful person and I'm a good person. And guys started recognizing me. And one guy came to me and said, I've never seen you before. You look so young. You don't look like you're old enough to work here. And I introduced myself and told my name. And he was a really attractive guy. He was short. I prefer tall, but I exchanged numbers, see what happens. So I exchanged numbers, and we would talk here and there, or whatever. But I was still talking to the other guy that I met on Facebook. And it had only been like a week since I knew, the guy from Facebook. And he seen me talking to the other guy. And he says, did you exchange numbers with that guy? And I said, yeah. I said, I'm a single woman. I can do that. And he got really upset and, started to tell me that was some hoe shit. So that seemed kind of off to me. And I said, well, I only known you for a week and still getting to know you. And I would like to continue to know you. But that makes me uncomfortable how you are being aggressive towards me and speaking to me. And he ended up apologizing and said, I apologize. I just really was starting to have strong feelings for you. And I know it's fast. It's so soon. But I felt like we was building a connection. And I said, I felt like we're building a connection too. But, for me, everybody doesn't date the same. For me, when you're dating, you could date more than one person. I'm not trying to be no hoe or whatever they like to call it, or be out there. I'm just trying to see what is out there. I'm a single woman. I want a counterpart. I want to be with someone. I want a committing relationship one day, and I want to be married. And, how am I going to do that if I'm closed off and not meeting people? So I felt like I did no wrong by exchanging a number with someone. It wasn't like I was giving a whole bunch of guys my number. I don't roll like that. But I did exchange a number with this one guy. And, was talking with the guy that I met on Facebook. And he said, give me a week to get over this situation, like was acting all hurt or whatever. And, I didn't care. I continued to talk to the other guy here and there, and block that out, And then the other guy, he was coming off like he just wanted sex. And I didn't like that. So I kind of backed up from him a little. And then one day I was getting off of work, and the guy I exchanged numbers with at work, he was on his break, and he asked me, oh, are you off of work? And I said, yeah, I just clocked out. And he said, he said, I'm still on the clock, but I'm going to the gas station to get me something to drink. Would you like to go for a ride and talk? And I said, okay. So I got in his car, and he went to the gas station and went to go get his drink, and I sat in the car. And then he gets back in the car, he starts driving, and he's going past the job. And I'm like, where are we going? And he turned into some apartments and parked. And I'm like, why are we here? He was like, oh, just to talk. I said, but we can park. Sorry, y'all, I got disconnected. But anyways, I was saying to the guy, we could talk in the car at the job. And he said, well, I don't want people in our business, And I said, okay. So I sat there and we talked, and he said, let's sit in the back seat. And I said, no, I'm not sitting in the back seat. Whatever we need to talk about, we could talk about with me sitting in the front seat and you sitting in a driver's seat. And that got uncomfortable. I said, you know what? Take me back to the job. I already knew what it was from there. Just what I was thinking before. He just wanted sex, the guy that I exchanged numbers with at the job, not the one I met on Facebook. And I said to myself, I'm done. Like, he made me uncomfortable. He's not somebody I'm interested in. After that, that was crazy. Like, he could have done anything to me. And I learned my lesson on that. Like, even though I may know someone, for a quick minute and wouldn't think they would do something like that, you don't know what people are capable of. He could have raped me. He could have did something to me. And later on, I found out that he sexually assaulted a girl at work. So boom, there you have it. Like, he took me back to the job, and when I got out of the car, he slapped me on the butt, and I just was like, I'm done. That was it with him. So I focused all my attention on the guy that I met on Facebook. So we continued to talk and to get to know each other, and things seemed to be going well. We were getting along. We went on dates. And we always had a good time. Like, we just always had fun. Now, 3 months into this, going into our relationship, I noticed a little bit of weird signs. Like, we would talk to each other all day during work. And then, like, after work, I wouldn't hear from him. Like, I would text or call him at night or when we were home from work, and he would never answer the phone. That was kind of a red flag there, and I ignored it. So we keep talking or whatever, and then I just got tired of it. He was seeming standoffish, like he wasn't interested in the relationship that we were trying to build. And out of the blue, he was like, this is getting too stressful. Maybe we should stay friends. And I'm like, okay, whatever. It was weird to me. And then my feelings would start to get involved. And that hurt me when he was like, maybe we should just be friends. It's too much. Just because I asked the question of why come when we're at home, when we leave, from work and go to our homes, I never, get it answered. You don't answer my call. That's just kind of weird. He like, I'm busy doing my other jobs because he sold cars on the side at a dealership. So he tried to make it seem like he was working his other job and he was just busy or whatever. So he said he just wanted to be friends. Then again, we're dating again. So we're dating again or whatever. And this time we're in a relationship. So I'm working all the time. I'm working like 12 hours. I'm working 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 3:30 in the morning. So I'm working 12 set for 7 days. And he's working about 8 hours or whatever. So he had more time on his hands than I did. So we didn't really get to go on a lot of dates. And I still hadn't invited him to my home yet. I felt uncomfortable bringing him to my home. I was feeling embarrassed where I lived. I kind of live in a hood. And I was embarrassed to bring him to my home. And that was the next problem. He was like, I'm tired of going to hotels. Why come I can't come to your home? Where do you live? And I would never tell him where I lived. And then so I sucked it up and let him know where I lived. And he started coming over to my home a lot. So now we're going 6 months into the relationship. 6 months into the relationship, he was coming over to my house all the time. I introduced him to my children 6 months into the relationship. And most of the time he was coming over, though, my kids weren't here, but I did introduce them to my kids. So everything seems good, but then it's still some red flags. So I'm like, why come I never came to your home yet? It's 6 months to relationship. Now it's time for me to come to your home. He comes to my house and stays the night and spend time with me here. Now it's my time to come to your home and spend time with you. Maybe I want to get away from my house sometimes. So he tells me, well, I'm living with a cousin right now. He's helping me get on my feet or whatever. And then I'm going to get my own place soon. I've been looking into this trailer or whatever. And I said, okay. So I didn't bother or pressure it anymore. So 6 months goes to a year. We're now dating for a year, and I still have not been to this man's house. And he's saying he was getting this trailer or getting another place, and it never happened. So one day I'm like, I'm so tired of hearing that. I said, I'm going to figure out where this man lives. So I did a background check on him. And back in the day, he used to have stores. He used to have women clothing stores and stuff like that. And as soon as I put in his name in Google, Michigan did an article on him on one of his stores that had opened back in I think it was 2016, about one of his stores or whatever that he had opened. And I read the article, and they were referring to a woman as his fiance. And so I said, oh no. Even though it was 2 years ago, that gave me a red flag. So I looked more into it. I background checked her. I background checked him. And when I did the background check, the addresses matched for the both of them. So that morning, he always came to my house in the morning, and he would take my kids to school sometimes because my truck had broke down and I needed to buy another car. But at the time, he was taking me to work and taking the kids to school in the morning. And so I ended up renting a truck to get me back and forth to work, so he didn't have to worry about taking me to work and stuff like that. So I rented a truck, and one morning he called me like, I'm on my way to the house, on his way to my house. I said, okay, well, don't come yet. I'm going to go get breakfast, and then you can come. But my whole plan was I had the address of the background check that I did on him and the woman that was supposedly his fiance in the article that I had read that was 2 years old. So I go to the address, and what do you know? I see his car in the driveway. The driveway of the place where he said he was staying with his cousin to get on his feet, to build his money, to find him a new place. He was looking at this trailer. This modular home that he was going to move into. And so I pulled up in the driveway. I was so pissed. I didn't even care. I pulled up all the way in the driveway behind his car, and I sat there and waited. I called him and said, you taking forever. I'm back at home. Hurry up. And he like, okay, I'm leaving out now. And as soon as he leaves out of the door, he sees me in the driveway. And he's looking like he has seen a fucking ghost. Okay, he is nervous that I found him out. He's wondering like, how did I figure this out? So I'm pissed and I'm saying, yeah, you've been doing a lot of lying. And so you've been doing a lot of lying. And he said, okay, let's go back to your house and talk about it. He was like, I see people been talking and telling you stuff. I said, no one told me anything. I said, I found this information out on my own. So I back out of the driveway and we head to my house. So he goes, we're in the car and we're talking and he's saying, the reason why I've been distant is because we've been getting into it a lot. And I kind of started talking to someone. I just started talking to this person. I said, you are a damn lie. I said, you've been known this woman. And I said her name. He was surprised that I said her name. And I said, you've been living at this address for a while. Because when I did background checks, it showed how long they had been living there. So I said, you've been living at this address for a while. This woman is not someone you just met. Stop lying. And then he said, okay, I've been dating her on and off for 28 years. And he was like, our relationship is not what you think. I'm basically just living there and this, that, and the other. And he said, I shouldn't have lied and I should have told the truth when I first met you, that I was dealing with someone. He was like, even though our relationship had been over for years, I'm just living there, and all this other bull crap he was telling me. And so he said, I'm going to tell her everything. I said, if you don't tell her everything, then I am. And so I waited a day or two and I didn't think that he told her. So I called the woman myself. I called her and she wasn't answering the phone. So I left a text message and I left some pictures that I had been at her house. And I sent her a text message explaining everything when I met him and that I've been dating him for a while. Mind you, let me roll this back. By the time this happened, I had been dating him for almost 2 years. Like 2 years. It was almost the new year. So at this time, I had been dating him about 2 years when I found this out of him living with another woman. So I text her everything, that how I met him, that we worked together, and that we've been in a relationship for almost about 2 years, and that I just found out about her. I knew nothing about her, and I said I was upset, and I let her know that she couldn't call me. So her daughter ended up contacting me, and we text back and forth, and she asked me some questions and I answered it. She asked how long we had been dating, was I in love with them, and she proceeded to tell me that he has always cheated on her, and that all his children that he has 3 children. He had 3 children on her out of the 28 years they had been together. And also told me that that was the woman that he was with for 28 years. That was her home. That was not his home. And that everything belonged to her. And then it got so deep to where his oldest daughter ended up contacting me. And she wanted to know what happened and was basically telling me that he's always been a cheater, that he hadn't been in his kids' lives. And basically they were, making him out to be a bad guy. And I'm like so shocked, like, oh my God. And so I was really upset. And she ended up kicking him out. And So he gathered all his stuff and moved out and was staying at his sister's salon. And then he sent me a text, fuck you. He was mad that I told the woman everything and that he got kicked out from the dirt that he was doing. And so I didn't talk to him. We didn't talk for about 3 months. Like, I was trying to get over him. I was so hurt. I cried every day. Having to pass him at work every day was so awkward. It was horrible. And then 3 months later, he left me a voicemail saying, call me, I want to talk to you. And I just kept ignoring him. Then, since I was ignoring him, he left me a voicemail like, I watched you spit on my car and all this other stuff. And I was nowhere near his car or even knowing where he was at. So he was making up lies to try to make me call him. And so I ended up answering one of his calls, and he wanted to talk and tell me, all the stuff that my daughter and all they were saying was lies and all this other stuff, and just basically saving face. And he said, I'm the one that helped her get that house, and it was her house, but I paid bills there too. It wasn't like she did everything for me, and he made his own money and paid for his own things because they were saying otherwise. And so he said, I'm not with her and I'm not with you, but I still feel a connection with you, and I don't want to throw that all away. And so I said, okay. My dumb butt got back with him again, and he moved into a new place, and he invited me to his new place, and COVID ended up happening. So when COVID happened, we kind of quarantined with each other. We quarantined with each other and spent a lot of time, and we were having good times, even though back in my head, I still had hurt from what he did. And also, he was telling the lady that he was with for 28 years that I was stalking him, and I was a woman that wanted more and wouldn't leave him alone. And so I still had all that back in my mind of all the lies he was telling her and all the lies he was telling me, and how he was perceiving me to be like this whore that wanted him and wouldn't leave him alone, like all these lies. But I decided to forgive him, and I went back knowing all of this stuff. It was so stupid. So I went back, and we were having good times, but I'm still insecure. Every time his phone rung, I wanted to know who was calling him, all that type of stuff. So, but then we have good times too. We cooked together, we watched shows together, we quarantined together, and stuff like that. I was quarantining back from my house to his, back and forth. And then we just continued. And then once he was living there for a while, it felt like he wanted to see other people but wouldn't tell me that. Because I noticed he would just start fights with me out of nowhere. He would start fights with me out of nowhere, but then come back. So I felt like he was seeing other people. And then when it didn't work out with them, he would come back to me. And it's my fault because I allowed it. But I didn't have that growth in me to fully see and use my intuition. I wasn't there yet. I didn't have my spiritual awakening. So I just kept putting up with his bullshit. And then one day, we went on a date with his brother that had just got out of prison. And we're having a good time. I'm joking or whatever. and I said something that he didn't like. And so he used that as an excuse for us to break up. So there's another thing of going in and out of my life, making excuses to break up with me so he could deal with somebody else. So it'll be like a week we don't talk, and then here he comes back apologizing, and then we're back hanging again. And then one time he said, I have a business that I want to do, that I want you to invest in, that we can do together. So I'm thinking, okay, this is going to strengthen our bond. We're going to do something together. So I gave him, he asked me for $1,000, but I did not give the $1,000. I said, I'll give you half. I'll give you 500. He said, okay, I'll pay you back when we get our bonus from work, which would have been 2 weeks later. So the 2 weeks later came, and I asked about my money, and he was like, you keep on saying stuff about this $500. $500 really ain't nothing, and you keep whining about $500. I've got more money, borrowed more money than that from people, and just being very narcissistic. Very narcissistic. And so, I didn't bring it up no more. I just thought maybe he'll just give it to me when he give it to me. So months had passed by, and he was telling me how someone had owed him money. And I said, well, you can't talk because you owe me money and have never given it back. And it's been months. And you told me you would give it back to me when you got your bonus, and you never did. So then he said, you know what, I'm gonna give you your money, and after that we don't need to speak to each other no more. So he wanted to Cash App me, and I don't know how to work Cash App. I'm one of those people that need to learn the new age. Like, I'm still old school. So I'm like, no, you can give me my cash back in my hand the same way that I gave it to you. And he told me he will give it to me. He said, fine, I'll give it to you when I give it to you. And so I just said, forget the money. He's never going to give it to me. And I took him back again. I kept allowing him to treat me like this. Again, I'm not spiritual awakening. I'm just being super stupid. So I go back to him, and, I'm saying that I want to go on dates more. We argue a lot. We've been going through so much stuff. Let's go on dates more and enjoy each other's company. But instead, he decided to be with his friends all night. He had got a motorcycle, and he would go to these motorcycle clubs, and he would hang out all night. We would plan to go somewhere, and if I was a little late or whatever, he would plan to go do something else when we were supposed to go do this thing. Or he would tell me, my family wanted me to barbecue for them, so we won't be able to go on this date or whatever. He would just make up stupid excuses because he was dating me, not knowing or looking at it like that. All this time he was dating other people behind my back and would not show up for things that we would plan, or sometimes we didn't plan. I would just call and say, let's do this. And it got to the point where we were starting to grow apart, but I kept trying to keep this bond because I was just so in love. My kids already knew him, and we've been through so much, and I was able to get over the situation with him dating someone for 28 years. I was able to get over that hurdle and trust again, even though he didn't give me no reason to trust him again. And he just kept pushing me away. I worked 12 to 10 hours at my job, and so I would sleep all day during the day. During the day is my sleep time. So I would sleep throughout the whole day, then get up, take a shower, and then go to work. And he would complain about that. When I got off of work, I would be tired. I would be tired and he would want me to come over. And I would say, I'm tired or whatever. Just give me a second. Let me sit down and recuperate at home. So I would sit down about an hour, recuperate, take my shower, and then come to his house. That was a complaint. He would complain about me relaxing at home when I got off of work to recuperate, then take a shower and come to his house an hour later. He would complain about that and say, and it was all about control. I realized it was about control. He would say, I'm always sitting here waiting for you. You're always late for dates. And it's like, as a woman, you women know, we like to do our makeup, do our hair. And it takes us a while to get that together. And men may not like it. But some men understand that that's what women do. And, well, some. I don't speak for all. But for me, I'm going to take a little time. If you want me to look good for you, then you're going to have to wait. And he was making it seem, he was so controlling that he would put in my mind, you're the only person I know that does this, that takes forever to get ready for a date. Someone that has to, when they get off to work, they have to sit there at home before they come. You could take a shower here at my house and sit around and chill. But I want to take a shower at my house. I want to chill and relax at my house before I come. Like, why do you have say so what I'm going to do with me? And it was very overbearing. He was controlling what I do when I get off of work, controlling about how long it takes me to do something. And then he started to be mentally and verbally abusive. On my birthday, I told him for my birthday, I'm going to go. My cousins want to take me out to dinner at J. Alexander's. And then after that, we can go do something. So I go out to eat with my cousins for my birthday. And he comes to pick me up at the restaurant when we were done eating. Okay, cool. So I started to have so much fun with my cousins. My uncle says, why don't you all come? Because it was around COVID as well. He said, why don't you all come to my house and I'll light a bonfire. We can have some drinks and watch the projector screen. I'll play some music and we play some cards. Well, he got pissed because he wanted to go do something else for me for my birthday. But it's my birthday. I should be able to do what I want for my birthday, and you're still included. So he was already pissed about that, but he came along. He didn't say anything yet. And we went and we played cards and I had a good time. And then we left. And when we got in the car, he was all like, that was so boring. That was so whack. He told me, your family didn't, it was so awkward. Your family didn't want you to be there. And you kept trying to be there. And just being so abusive, like trying to make me feel bad on my birthday. And then a number that I don't know kept calling my phone and I wouldn't answer it because I didn't know who it was. And so that was another thing that we argued about. So he snatched my phone out of my hand. He snatched the phone out of my hand and was like, who was that calling you? I said, I don't know who was calling me. It could have been somebody from my past, but I don't know. And I'm not answering it in case, because that would be another situation that he would try to twist and make it seem like I was talking to another guy or whatever. So he snatched my phone out of my hand and tried to go through my phone, and I'm trying to grab my phone. And then he takes my phone and he throws it on the ground and says, I don't give a fuck anymore, and drives off. So I get in my car and get ready to drive away, and he takes my keys out of the ignition, and then he drives off with my keys. So I'm just sitting out there looking stupid outside of his place. So then he comes back and he throws my keys, and says, fuck you. I don't care anymore. Bitch. He calls me a bitch and drives off. So then after that, we didn't talk for a while after that, and then we got back in contact again. I go back again. So I go back again, and my next birthday, the next year after that, what did we do? I can't remember, but he ruined that birthday too. Whatever happened, I can't even remember. And then I remember breaking up again, and we still seen each other at work. So I ended up exchanging. We were broke up, so I ended up exchanging numbers with a guy at work, and he was just like a friend, coworker I used to see in passing, but I could tell that he was attracted to me. But I was not looking at him in that way. But we did exchange numbers, and he used to let me vent about my ex to him. And one day, my ex walked up to talk to me, and the guy was on the phone. And he says, who is you talking to on the phone? And I said, my cousin. I lied. And then he said, well, let me see. And I wouldn't show him my phone. And then he said, you're lying, and got upset and put me through a lot of pain, emotionally abused me with that. Like, we're not even in a relationship, and all the stuff he put me through. He has the nerve to come up to me as a single person and complain about me speaking to someone else on my phone. And because I didn't tell you who it was, you are now going to verbally abuse again. So it's just a lot of abuse, a lot of blaming. He would make me feel like I was lazy if I wanted to sleep. I'm tired. I'm working 10 to 12 hours. I'm going to come home and relax, and I would just want to sleep. And not only that, I'm a person that suffers from depression. Ongoing depression isn't just like something you go through and you just get over it. It comes back sometimes. And so part of that was part of my depression. He would tell me, oh, that's an excuse, or whatever. He would say that my depression was an excuse. So I took a lot of verbal abuse. I took a lot of manipulation. I took a lot of things. And one day, he was just in and out of my life. Another time, he told me, I want to go seek other people. I want to see what's out there, and I want to date other people. And I just got tired. I started to get fed up. I said, I'm so tired of this. And I said, fine, go do you. So it so happened, an old friend of mine ended up contacting me that I hadn't talked to in years, since like high school. And we started talking, and I let my ex go talk to other people. So once he seen that I didn't care, and I said I was going to see other people too, then here he goes with manipulation again. He told me that I was on some whole shit again, and try to make me feel bad for wanting to pursue other people, because that's what he wanted to do. And that I didn't care anymore, and I let him go do his thing, and I moved on to go talk to other people too. So I started to talk to the guy, and there goes the manipulation, him coming back, saying that was some whole shit, I was a hoe, and just all this stuff. And so we didn't talk for 3 months again, and then things went sour with the guy that I was talking to. Things went sour, and we stopped talking. We broke up. I broke up with the other guy. We only dated for like 3 months, and we broke up. And I really liked the other guy. He was a nice guy or whatever, but I felt like he hadn't been in a for real adult relationship. I feel like he still has some growing up to do. And so I went back to my ex again. And this time it lasted for about 6 months. And I started to notice, after that 6 months period, he was back to talking to other women behind my back again. He didn't want me to leave things behind at his house. He didn't want to go on dates anymore. I started to see him pull away. So when he pulls away, I know he's talking to other people. He's thinking the grass is greener on the other side. And one day he told me, I want to break up. I don't want to do this anymore. Sorry, I made a mistake and all this other stuff. And then the next week I see him upload a picture of another woman on his Facebook. So I was very hurt. Like, all the hurt that I was going through is just, I went through that for 2 months. And then I was just in so much pain that I got into tarot. This is where I got into tarot. I wanted answers. I wanted to know what was really going on. I really didn't know much about tarot. I just know, growing up in a church home, that it was viewed as evil and devil's work and stuff. But I looked into tarot, and it helped me get through this rough time in my life. Like, it gave me answers, it gave me a path to go on, to better myself. And I end up going back to the guy, not my ex, the guy that I talked to for 3 months. I end up going back to him. He called me one day out of the blue, like, saying that he missed me, he missed my company, and that, he didn't see me as just a friend, and he just wanted to see where things go. So we talk again, and we're talking again for about a month, and he had got a new place. And so I started coming to his new place, and one morning he was asleep. I went to the bathroom, and I'm coming back to the room, and I see a woman's pair of panties in front of his bed that I didn't see the night before. So I pick it up and look at it. It's not mine. And so I'm instantly pissed. So I wake him up and I show him, and I said, I just found a woman's pair of panties in your room. And he said, oh, wow. He looks at it and goes back to sleep. I just gather my things and I just leave. And he didn't call me. He didn't text me or anything. Like, he felt unbothered by it. So I'll call him and I say, I text him. I say, you don't feel embarrassed that I just found another woman's panties in your room? And he says, no. He was like, you didn't see the basket of clothes in front of my door? All the clothes I'm getting from my parents' house. Sometimes my mom and my sister's underwear gets mixed into the clothes or whatever. And I called him. I said, so are you telling me that these underwear don't belong to a woman that you were seeing? And he said to me, I can't confirm or deny. And I said, well, you know what? I said, my heart was pumping when I seen that. I don't think it's funny. I said, but you know what? It is what it is, and you have a wonderful day. He told me to have a wonderful day too. And that let me know that he didn't care about me either, that it was just the sex. And I'm no longer putting up with the in and out of my life. So I decided to heal myself, and I've been healing and growing, being on my own, just working, and coming home, dealing with things within my home, paying all my bills, and trying to move out of this apartment into a better one and just focus on building me. And I'm happy. I am happy, being alone and just dating. I am dating someone new, and I'm taking it very slow. I'm not putting all of my heart into it, but instead enjoying him as a friend and doing things together. And that's what I'm going to do for a while, but mostly focus on myself. So my ex was a egomaniac. He felt so entitled, wanted the best, but didn't think he had to put in the work to get the best when it came to our relationship. He was all about self and his happiness, wearing false masks, causing blockages, wanting his cake and eat it too, coming in and out of my life, keeping secrets. So unstable and unbalanced mentally and emotionally and spiritually. And sometimes people don't like things in you that they lack or weren't taught. So they think that you have a problem or being obnoxious when that's not the case. I've grown so much and had to walk away from a lot of things that were no longer serving me. And I'm so proud of myself, how bold and strong I've become. But with the newfound growth, sometimes it's lonely. I don't have the love of my life. I don't have close friends or cousins or family I can relate to. And I know God is isolating me for a reason, for my protection, my blessing of growth and enlightenment. But that doesn't mean that I'm not human, that I don't get lonely, that I don't get angry about it, cry about it, get pissed off about it. It's hard not having nobody while trying to heal your codependency of wanting people around. But you see, in my past, I was wanting to associate myself with people, associate myself with people that were no good to me, whether it was friends or relationship or family. They didn't treat me right. They didn't always make me feel good, didn't see my worth, and was not loyal to me in the way I was loyal to them. And God saw the many nights I cried, how I tried to hold on, to connections that no longer served me. I'm done with offers that are not sustainable. I can't care more than what I'm cared for. I know my worth. I know what I want. And what I want will come to me in divine timing. And I don't need to chase after it. You know, God let it all crumble, no matter how much or how hard I try to keep it from crumbling down to none. Literally just God and I. Because it was time for me to move on so that I could stop shrinking myself down to make others happy. Stop being stagnant. Stop being low vibrational in my energy. Stop being depressed, losing sleep. It was time I stepped into a new me, a new direction, a new path in the light where I could now see no more cloudness, no more darkness. I don't want to be someone's sometime friend, sometime family, or sometime or someone's hump board. Too much emotional instability in and out, playing games, just sex type of connections, you know? So I know I scattered with my story or whatever. I just, kind of freeballed it. Went off the top of the dome of, situations that went on in my relationship over time. And I hope you all enjoyed my story and something you can learn from. And thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. And thank you.